did Oda show a flashback of Joyboy from 800 years ago. So this chapter 1122 started with the reactions of people from different parts of the world. The context here is what Vegapunk revealed in the last chapter about who will obtain the One Piece treasure, who will decide the fate of the world. Various citizens from around the world were shown, such as ordinary civilians, pirates, prisoners of Impel Down, and Marines. Speaking of the Marines, in the next panel, Kobe was shown. When he heard Vegapunk's announcement, he suddenly had a flashback to the scene of his reunion with Luffy in Water 7. This was the time when Kobe declared to Luffy his intention to become an admiral, and here, Kobe realized that because Luffy wants to become the Pirate King, it means that Luffy also plans to take the One Piece treasure. That's why Kobe boldly declared that he would stop Luffy. In the next panel, the scene suddenly shifted to the Cross Guild. Buggy was shown giving his sentiments about Vegapunk's announcement regarding the world. His crew was indeed impressed until Crocodile suddenly made him sit down. On the other hand, the scene suddenly shifted to the Blackbeard Pirates. Oda gave us an update on Katarina Devon's group. At this time, Blackbeard was already with them. Devon was asking what she should do with Caribou. She said she could kill him if Blackbeard wanted, but Caribou stopped her. He said he had important information he wanted to give to Blackbeard. Since Blackbeard was curious, he let Caribou speak. Then, the scene returned to Egghead. The ancient robot was indeed shown continuously fighting the five elders. Even if he slows them down, he is still at a disadvantage in this fight. Thus it showed Brogy and Dory looking worried. Then it showed Vegapunk's broadcast slowly getting disrupted. At the upper part of Egghead Island, the Thousand Sunny was shown still falling into the ocean. But as we mentioned in the last chapter, it seems that Nasujuro wasn't severely affected by Atlas's explosion. It suddenly targeted the Thousand Sunny. Because of this, we saw Nami panic. Since Zoro sensed the danger, he prepared to attack. But before they could execute their attacks, the scene shifted back to the ancient robot. It spoke to Luffy and apologized, still referring to him as Joyboy. The ancient robot realized that Luffy and Joyboy are not the same person. Since it was unlikely that the Joyboy he knew was still alive until now, Luffy was shown to be puzzled by what the ancient robot was saying until the ancient robot directly asked what the name of the person it was talking to was. And of course, Luffy revealed that he is Monkey D. Luffy. Upon hearing Luffy's name, the only thing that stood out to the ancient robot was the D. The ancient robot promised that it would not let Luffy die. So while this conversation between Luffy and the ancient robot was happening, it was shown that aside from Gorosei Nasujiro, we also saw Gorosei Jupiter, Gorosei Mercury, and surprisingly Gorosei Saturn rushing to the ancient robot's location. This forced the ancient Dark robot to use its final move. He suddenly and unexpectedly pulled a long rope from his own body, and in order to untangle it, he clearly showed that he used Haki. And then suddenly, a very powerful Haki was released throughout Egghead Island. The king's Haki was so strong that it showed some Marines fainting. These vice admirals were extremely overwhelmed by the powerful Haki released by the ancient robot. The five elders near the ancient robot were shown returning to their normal forms. Yes guys, they returned to their normal forms, and along with that, they also went back to Mary Joyce, where we first saw the Black Circle stars when they initially appeared on this island. So Five Elder Mars is also present in Mary Joyce. This means he returned earlier than the other three Five Elders. Yes, only three, since Five Elder Saturn is still on Egghead Island. It was out of nowhere that the Haki hit the Five Elders, and somehow Im-sama also felt it. It was shown that he kneeled, and based on his face, he looked extremely shocked and nervous. And since there were no more enemies except for Five Elder Saturn, the Thousand Sunny successfully landed on the sea, which made Luffy laugh. And because of the speed of events, Labrogi asked where the Five Elders were. Luffy just said that he didn't know. He said they just suddenly disappeared. Brogy was surprised because they also felt the Haki released by the ancient robot. Usopp's group was very happy because they were finally safe. Until the scene returned to the dying ancient robot, it showed that it was now facing 5 Elder Saturn. And even before these two could have a conversation, the ancient robot suddenly had a flashback about the king's haki it released. So it was shown that the ancient robot was talking to a silhouette wearing a straw hat. We assume that this is Joyboy, since this is what the ancient robot keeps mentioning. Anyway, Joyboy mentioned that the rope on, and when Joyboy realized that Emmett, the ancient robot, was confused about what the emergency was, he explained it to him. Joyboy left his haki in the body of the ancient robot as a preventive action, since he knew that the ancient robot would live longer than him. When Joyboy realized that Emmett, the ancient robot, was confused about what an emergency was, he explained it to him. He said that it was the time when his life or the life of the person he wanted to protect was in danger. Emmett somewhat understood that Joyboy would still protect him even after his death through the haki he left in his body, and this made Joyboy happy. And they said yes, just like they used to do. And in the final panel of this chapter, it showed that Emmett seemed to be shutting down, but instead of feeling sad, he just laughed at his situation. He was laughing while remembering his old friend Joyboy. And this is where chapter 1122 ends. Overall, it was a solid chapter that we read. There were many revelations, especially about our favorite mysterious character, Joyboy. So as I mentioned in our spoiler video, I doubt that the Egghead Island arc will end here, since they currently still have enemies on this island, and even in the location near the Straw Hat Pirates, which includes Ravluchi, Admiral Kizaru, and Gorosei Saturn. And since the ancient robot protected Luffy, I doubt he would just leave it in the hands of Gorosei Saturn. I'm sure Luffy will find a way to repay Emmett. As for the content of this entire chapter, we'll just make a separate analysis video for it. Since I noticed many things worth discussing, like the X mark on the hand of the ancient robot from 800 years ago, which is similar to the Straw Hat Pirates during the Alabasta arc, the appearance of Joyboy's silhouette, reactions of Kobe and Buggy, and many more. Anyway, that's our full chapter review of chapter 1122, and I hope you enjoyed it. So that's it. Peace!